Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the daily stock market update video where we do price action analysis on QQQ, Sp500, as well as the 7 mega cap tech stocks, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta. So if you guys want to look at the natural gas, commodities, gold, and silver and dollar, the US dollar video, check the video out before. I just posted that one. And let's take a look at QQQ. So QQQ yesterday, I remember talking to you about you guys where you were either looking for that daily higher low being set here, meaning this low is higher than this low for the daily trend change on the daily time frame, give us that daily uptrend back to the bulls ever since we saw weakness here in July. So and essentially bulls today showed up and we broke Thursday's high, and congratulations to the bulls. We have formed a daily uptrend since we lost it here on August 2nd. So it's been a month. After this weakness, we have confirmed daily downtrend here. Ever since then, bear has been following through, and now this move has confirmed a daily uptrend. Does that mean we are out of the woods yet? And technically, we could say we are looking at a bull flag now, potentially forming on the weekly time frame for QQQ. Let's take a look at the monthly. But yeah, it's also a monthly bull flag because you measure this from the very bottom. It shall move to the top of the move. QQQ have retraced pretty much exactly 0.382. So as you guys know where I talk about, as long as, not exactly, it's down here, but as long as the opposition move does not break 0.382, it's a bull flag. So if it's the other side, it's a bear flag, right? So bottom of the move, A to the top of the move, that's where we measured. We only pull back to, let's see, probably close to 35% because the 38% is down here. So roughly 38%. So that's still in a bull flag territory now. And because of the daily trend change confirmed, the probability of the potential bull flag now for QQQ has increased. It doesn't mean we can still pull back. Let's say September we pull back, right? Like another couple percent. Because September usually is a weaker seasonality overall in the market. So we pull back 5% in September. Like we chop around sideways, pull back 5%, and we're still in a bull flag territory, right? We could come up. Now we bounced, right? Now, so we pull back, chop around, and from the next month, another candle. In October, we're still in a bull flag, but we could still pull back. And then, let's say in November and December, we decide to break out of that bull flag into testing all-time highs, right? So it doesn't mean we are out of the woods completely just because we had a daily uptrend change, but it definitely does increase the probability for us to continuation of the bull flag now on the monthly. And the weekly, it's still, this weekly now is set. So this weekly pivot is set because daily trend change has formed an uptrend. So now this is a level where bulls need to hold. Otherwise, we confirm a weekly downtrend. That'll be a huge red flag. And for bulls, if that happens. So as of now, we'll see if the bears can pull off a weekly head and shoulders, or bulls can pull off a bull flag to test all-time highs. So a head and shoulders essentially is a uptrend into a downtrend. You can see it looks like a middle finger, but this is uptrend. And if it confirms on the right shoulder, meaning breaking the neckline right there, it confirms a daily downtrend because this is the initial move, this is the pivot set, and breaks the prior low. So now that's a downtrend. So as of now, technically we can say we are forming a right shoulder, but zero signs of pullback yet on that right shoulder. So still anybody's game here, but bears aren't looking great because daily uptrend has confirmed. So, but we'll see tomorrow because tomorrow we are actually sitting at right at resistance for NASDAQ. So let's take a look here. So you guys know where I sometimes talk about, not all the time, but when we do see correlations between QQQ and NASDAQ, which is the future chart for QQQ, and SPY and as well as SPX for the futures chart. We want both of them to break resistance at the same time. So let's go to the daily chart for NASDAQ. So this is the future chart where it runs 24 hours, or pretty much 24, but not 24 exactly. But it's a chart where you give price action overnight as well. So we get more information on NASDAQ overall because we get to see the overnight price action in this chart as well. And currently, Thursday's high is right here, this 154.18 right there, where I talked about that QQQ needs to break above the high to form the daily uptrend. Let me just pull it up side by side for you guys. Actually, I'll just do this. Okay, so we're looking at daily chart for QQQ. Kind of hard to see, but let's see. Okay, so remember this Thursday's high right there? That's the high. This NASDAQ right now hasn't gone over. So it's QQ got over it, but NASDAQ currently, I'm going to call that a double top because it's a $15,000 instrument. And we did get over a little bit, right? We closed at 154.25, which is roughly 15, sorry, not 15, $7 above it. And yeah, so let's call that a double top right for now. And maybe the futures chart overnight and after hours is going to get over it, right? Then that would be like a good sign for the bulls because you want to see both the NASDAQ and QQQ breaking resistance at this same time. Not the same time, but they want to be both above it for us to be more comfortable overall as a bull. But you can see all these wicks over here. Rejection on this level, rejection on this level, rejection on this level twice, another rejection level right there, right? So this is a key level of resistance right here. So just because we close at the top of the day doesn't mean tomorrow we're going to continue. But the probability of when we close at the top of the day, high of the day, technically does increase the probability of us continuing the next day, where we are a little bit overbought in the last 3 days. So bulls might take a little bit of a rest, especially when we hit resistance after a 4.5% run, a strong resistance level. So there's two scenarios I see here. We break above it, then pull back for the hourly consolidation to retest this zone and then bounce off of it. Or we reject it here and then retest again later this week. So those are the two scenarios I'm going to be looking at. Ideally, best scenario for the bulls is break above it, then retest it, bounce. But it makes sense to reject it initially because of the size of the run we have been running. So we're a little bit overbought, but so we slight pullback. It's very normal for it to retest again. So where I'll be looking at for NASDAQ and QQQ. SPY. So SPY yesterday, remember when I talked about saying if SPY broke first in the morning, that Thursday's high, then all the bears are going to be looking over at their shoulders thinking, okay, if SPY broke it already, is QQQ now going to follow and break above it as well? So essentially that is what happened in the morning. So when you zoom in, right at, let's see here, when we tested this 15-minute mark right there at that 4.4, it was 4.45. Let's take a look daily again. Thursday's high was 445.22. 445.22 was right close to this area. So we had a little bit of a resistance here in the morning, right here. See, we tried to get over it right in the morning and didn't. But once we get over it, retested that area, bounce off of it, and is just full for the rest of the day, right? And so that was the clue that once SPY broke above it, you also broke above it as well and never look back. So that's why we always look at all these correlations in these charts with each other on SPY and QQ, as well as other mega cap tech stocks to see. Because yesterday I also talked about where if Apple broke above it, QQ is probably going to break above it as well. So essentially, that is exactly what we got. But we'll take a look at Apple in a second after we finish looking at Tesla and Nvidia. So Tesla broke out of my wedge, bullish. So that's a good sign because I remember talking about yesterday where today is going to be that's going to break out because there's not a lot of room left in that pattern. And pretty much we got higher highs with no follow through, and today we got a lot of follow through. So it makes sense that the chances of it breaking out on the bull side is a lot higher than the bear side because of how oversold we were on this drop. And there was not really any like serious bad fundamental news on Tesla, um, like Elon getting a car accident or something, right? So we didn't have anything serious. It was just some weakness in the overall tech sector and QQQ, and it sold off 30%, right? So that's a huge sell off. So it doesn't make sense when we bounce back. We also have relative strength as well. So it's a good sign. 21% bounce in just a couple of days. Now let's take a look to see where does the bulls want to bounce to. So on the weekly, bears are still looking for a weekly lower high. Like this low, this high is lower than this high because of the size of this drop. You guys remember how I talk about it all the time. So let's see if Tesla bulls can get over this 50% mark to negate that. Okay, so we are pretty much right at it, above it. I would say we're above it because we closed above it. So that's a good sign. That means now it's anybody's game. So the 50% mark for Fibonacci retracement is the mark where if we get such a big pullback on the downside and the opposing move gets over about 50%, now it's anybody's game where there's enough space for bulls to work with too on the next drop where they can confirm the weekly uptrend. And as well as there's still a lot of room for bears to work with on the weekly downtrend. So now it's anybody's game. But if Tesla couldn't even get over this 50% mark, then it favors the bear for the downside. But now it's starting to favor bulls now because we're above that. Obviously, if we keep bouncing higher into the golden pocket as well over 0.65, now it's going to start favoring the bulls a lot more for the weekly uptrend to confirm. As of now, no signs of stopping on this move yet because we literally closed high of the day and we can just say bulls ran out of time where they wanted to go. They could have gone even higher. So no weakness on this entire day at all. Zero on this chart. So, but what I want to see is some hourly consolidation. Hourly consolidation just means a couple candles below the prior candle to form the hourly trend to continue upward. Give bulls a little bit of a rest and form some supports along the way, have more stable foundations, and head higher. Just like this sideways, it's establishing support zones to head higher. Just like these consolidations on the way down, see how we have a big pullback, and then that consolidation just means like a bounce. Set support and resistance zones on the way down. So I want to see that as well when we go up. Set zones go up instead of like a straight shot up, and then you'll get something like this. Here's a straight shot down, like that. If we do straight shot up too much, and let's say we straight shot up another day, and then Wednesday there comes some random bad news, and next thing you know, we're down here. Especially when you don't build supports along the way, right? But no signs of weakness today. Absolute zero. So lucky scenario is likely a continuation, more upside in the next coming few days. All right, Nvidia. So Nvidia, I talked about where after the earnings, it showed 2 days of relative weakness, right? And the thing is that if you're a bear, right, and you see relative weakness on good news, good earnings, it's a sign that people wanted to take profit and where it's potentially a little bit quote unquote too expensive. But at the same time, you had to understand that if all you got was to this 450 zone, right? And the bulls are able to hold that double bottom zone, not even getting through 450, then that's likely the end of the bear move, because Nvidia didn't report a earnings that was just good. It was really good. And they have a $22 billion buyback. And they have good guidance for the next up all the way into next year, right? So like you can't really get that far as a bear if you have all of those things check marks, right? It did make sense. People like to take some profit after hitting all-time highs, right? Big fund manager may want to lock their profits in overall, and also the thing you want to see is that there was no structural change in the entire chart of Nvidia on the daily time frame, even after such a huge pullback for 2 days, a 10% pullback in 2 days. Nvidia's daily time frame was still in the uptrend. So even right here, when you pull back here, Nvidia was pretty much still in the daily uptrend. You can call this a break of the daily uptrend into a neutral, but I'm just going to call it a double bottom. And because we also bounced off of this 12 EMA at the same time, and we bounced off of 450. So that was the sign where which no more bears really down here. It was just 2 days of profit taking, and that was it. Essentially, today is shift back to a relative strength. So you guys know what I talk about when a stock hits a support or a resistance, it can shift from relative strength into relative weakness or vice versa. So Nvidia here hit support and bulls held it. So it went shift from weakness, relative weakness compared to QQQ to relative strength now compared to QQQ. So actually that was why we got the 4% bounce today overall. And you guys know how I talked about it on the yesterday, where this second half of the day was also relatively strength. After that morning support was tested, you can see 4% bounce just from that area. So essentially it's a 10% bounce in 2 days after it shifts from touching support and shifting to relative strength. So where are we looking at right now? So pretty much we're looking at this little area right here. That's the only resistance that we have, which is exactly where we touched today. That's it. Then we're looking at all-time highs because there's not really any resistance above us because we are currently pretty much trading all-time highs. So Nvidia looking at that 489. Get over that. We're looking at 500. 500 is always a psychological resistance and a earnings resistance as well. When we had that earnings support zone, we bounced off of it. See, we popped, bounced off of 500, and so it's going to act as resistance when we come up to it. Those are the levels I was looking at. All right. All right, Apple. So Apple was the lead bull today, and I was talking about where if Apple get over this Thursday's high, because we were so close to it yesterday already. Remember when all the other tech stocks that I was talking about it, where we did a measurement of it, it was like 2% away, 3% away, and 1% away. But Apple was only 0.5% away. So I said, if Apple just had a small green candle tomorrow and break above that, confirming its daily uptrend at the same time and breaking the 2-day EMA 12, it's probably going to rocket. And if it rockets, then QQQ is as well going to break that Thursday resistance and forming the daily uptrend at the same time. And so essentially that's what we got. So we zoom into the daily time frame, 2-day time frame. So you can see when we broke above it right there, that would be 181.55, as well as the 2-day EMA 12 at the same time is close to 181.5. So when you zoom in to see where that price was on the 5 minutes, let's take a look. 181.5 would be right here. So essentially Apple broke right here, and then we never looked back. Same thing with QQQ. So, and you can see the other tech stocks in the morning, like Amazon, was slightly just weaker. You can see over here, this not doing that much overall throughout the day. So that's why we take a look at all these 7 mega cap tech stocks to give us more clues to see if or SPY, whichever way they're going to head. And essentially, there's a decent breakout. No fake outs here. You can see it just trended the 5-minute EMA 12 the whole day. Not a single fake out here. Till the end of the day, that last candle, you would probably stopped out if you were playing the EMA 12 5 minutes. But take a look on the daily, see where it might go. So the next level of resistance I'll be looking at is pretty much hit it today. Exactly. No wonder that we got a one red candle after that big one end of the day, because we touched the resistance exactly at the right at the end of the day, right there. This level as well. That is the next. 5 is where I'm going to be looking at. If we can get over 105, then we're looking back up at 107, 187. And if we get above 187, then that gap fill to see if we can fill this gap again. As of now, still quite a bit away, so you don't have to worry about gap fill yet. But these two levels, what you're looking at. And on the weekly, same thing with this retracement, like Tesla, where we're looking at to see if it gets over 50%. And it just shy of it. We got over it, but now we closed right under it. But so still anybody's game here. So technically, I would say it's 50-50. Anybody games here due to size of the bounce today. I can give benefit of doubt to the bulls because we bounced 3% and a little bit of pullback right at the end of the day on a 5-minute time frame. That last candle made us close below it is not that big of a deal for me. And so tomorrow we'll see. So now Apple is back on a daily uptrend and back above EMA 12. A lot of good signs for the bulls on Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon is still relatively weak. Doesn't have its daily trend change back to its favor yet. You can see we're still well below Thursday's high. We are 1.14% below Thursday's high, but now this bounce is big enough where Amazon could potentially change that trend. It's daily downtrend. The reason it's still weaker compared to every other big tech stock because it's currently still in a daily downtrend. And the only hope right now for it is that it's bounced big enough where we can potentially change the daily trend back to bull's favor. Yeah. And QQQ was holding it up today pretty much. If QQQ was red today, this would have been probably down here right now. You can see QQQ was up 2%, and this is only up 1.33. So it's a lot weaker today. So we'll see if the relative weakness continues or Amazon is going to show up and give us something. Otherwise, because QQQ can't go up forever. So we'll need a trend change back to bull's favor to give us some hope, or not hope, like as in more fuel in Amazon. But as of now, hourly uptrend is our guide, so that's a good sign. We got an hourly trend back to bull's favor, so we'll see if that can continue. And obviously, Thursday's high is going to be key. We want to break above that. Google and Google, that chop zone, you're talking about it today, and we broke out of that chop zone. So there was news in the morning where Google and Nvidia are in collabs on something. I forgot what it was, but that was what gave the fuel to it. And you can see very, very clearly, we bounced, we rocketed. I don't know what that was, but anyways, we rocketed, and oh yeah, I said Google. That's why my phone went off. But we rocketed with zero trend change. It was just literally a whole straight up, and then we pulled back right to exactly support. So that's 113.78. You can see on the daily time frame, it pretty much is exactly where this prior resistance was. So this prior resistance over here, where we rejected a couple times, acted as support on the shorter term time frame when we pulled back to it, and we bounced off of it. But we're not out of the woods yet because I want to see us close multiple candles above it. Last thing I want to see is that tomorrow we drop back down to this chop zone. That would mean it's a bull break lacking follow through. So we zoom into the 5 minutes. You can see that we did bounce off of it from that strong support zone where it was prior resistance, but we could still very likely head lower tomorrow from there. So tomorrow is very key for Google. Yeah, 15 minutes. This might form an equilibrium, but we'll see tomorrow. So yeah, so Google very key tomorrow. Don't want it to break below this 113. Essentially, is this zone right here. If you're short-term trader, it's probably good to put a stop loss down here, because if we do break below that, you're likely coming down back into the chop zone. And if we do come back to the chop zone, we're going to probably come down to this lower end of the zone, because this would have been a bull break with a daily uptrend confirmed. We have daily uptrend confirmed now and lacking follow through. That's a bad sign. First, tomorrow, if we just hold this level, then no big deal. And it's daily uptrend confirmed and still holding. Well, obviously, the most ideal scenario is we break above it, but we'll need a lot of fuel from QQ as well. QQ might need a little bit of a break, so QQ takes a little bit of a break tomorrow, then Google might take a little break as well. So, all right, Microsoft. Let's see here, Microsoft, same thing. It's trying to form that daily uptrend. Big enough bounce, pull back now. We're almost there at Thursday's high. So that's going to be the key as well. Microsoft will join Apple on that bull break move. And look at the hourly. Hourly also in an uptrend now, and very clear. This is an hourly bull flag. So if we get over this 328.9 high tomorrow, that's an hourly bull flag confirmed, which coincides with this resistance right there. And we're likely coming out to test Thursday's high if that happens. We break out of that tomorrow. With these levels of resistance at this moment. So bull flag is, we'll see. 330 is going to be resistant as well. So break out of this bull flag, hit 330. If we can break above that, then we're coming up to test that Thursday's high. And if we get over that, then good sign for the bulls. First daily uptrend ever since this topping pattern out on this AI news. So you see the downtrend confirmed right here, and it's been on a downtrend ever since. Now we're back in a neutral trend, but we haven't confirmed the daily uptrend yet. So Thursday's high is key for Microsoft. And Meta super close, pretty much hit exactly my target from yesterday. So I talked about where we had a decent bounce where bulls played defense right at the support. And at the same time, it formed a higher low. I mean, this low is higher than this low. So that's the pivot set. And bulls are trying to shape out that daily uptrend. Hit exactly this 300 and 298 resistance zone. Very obvious, which makes sense, 2.66%. So tomorrow will be the day. Obviously, it could be Thursday or Friday as well, but let's say we chop around here Thursday or Friday, and Meta goes up. But tomorrow, the key to see if Meta can confirm its daily uptrend back to bull's favor as well. It's been on a daily downtrend since here as well. Take a look at the weekly. No pivot set yet on the weekly. So if, let's say, we bounce on the weekly, get above last week's candle, and then we form a daily weekly downtrend, that's a huge red flag for QQ. But as of now, no signs of that yet. Let's see. We're also at the 50% mark. So a lot of 15% marks, and coinciding with that NASDAQ double top resistance. So let's see if the futures traders are going to get us over that resistance and gap up tomorrow, or we might pull back for a day or two, or it's just a slight consolidation before we head higher. Or let's see, because very normal for QQ to pull back a little bit after going 4.5% in just a couple of days, for take a little break before it heads higher. But so we can see that a couple of these mega cap tech stocks are sitting right at resistance as well with NASDAQ. So, but Apple is sitting close to it as well. Amazon just doing not much. So if QQQ goes weaker, Amazon definitely not going to help Google. Broke today, but we didn't close at the high of its day, so there might be lack of following tomorrow. Microsoft, I would say, is still in a good shape. Meta as well, even though we closed right at resistance, we did close at the high of its day. There could be some more continuation tomorrow, as well as Nvidia and Tesla. Those are, especially Tesla is definitely the strongest in Nvidia. So we'll see. A couple of them a little bit weaker, but majority are still strong, but sitting right at resistance. So if they can break over resistance tomorrow, NASDAQ's double top resistance will be broken for sure as well. And we'll see a little bit more continuation. So we'll get that best case scenario where we broke above it, continuation, and then consolidate, give it a little bit of rest, pull back, and then retest and bounce. Right? If you guys made it this far, and feel free to subscribe, like, and share. They're always appreciated. And if you guys got any questions, feel free to comment below. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another update. And have a great rest of you guys' day.